Jeremiyah Love might be one of the best running back prospects in recent memory. At the NFL Combine over the weekend, he ran a 4.36 40-yard dash, and he's doing this at 6 foot, 215 pounds. In comparison, a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, who's 15 pounds lighter and is 5'9", ran the exact same time. And he doesn't only look elite in the running category, he already looks like an amazing pass catcher, so he might just be one of the best dual threat running backs in the entire NFL, and he hasn't even played a snap yet. A lot of comps that I like for guys like Jeremiyah Love are Bijan Robinson, Alvin Kamara, and LaDainian Tomlinson. That one's a little crazy because I don't know if he's going to have the best running back season of all time, but because of this high ceiling, it's no surprise he's one of the most talked about prospects in this upcoming draft. And with guys like Ashton Jeanty going 6th to the Raiders in last year's draft, who really knows how high Jeremiyah Love could go? He even has a possibility to go number 3. But let's look at who his possible suitors are. First, starting with the highest possible pick, which is the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are in a really weird spot. They just released Kyler Murray, and they were going through running backs like crazy in the 2025 season. The original starter was James Conner, then he suffered a season-ending injury. They also had Trey Benson, who had another season-ending injury, and then they went through more backups like DeMarcano, Bam Knight, and Michael Carter. Just because they're in such a weird spot with their QB situation, it would be really interesting to see in what direction they'll go. They possibly might be getting Malik Willis, but in my opinion, the most likely pick for the Cardinals is a guy like David Bailey. I'm not sure if they're going to want another running back in that room, as they do like Trey Benson a lot, but I also wouldn't blame them if they moved on from James Conner. In his entire career in the NFL, he's only had one fully healthy season, which was 2024, but that defense needs a lot of help, specifically the pass rush, as they had the 8th fewest sacks in the entire NFL. They also allowed 26.8 points a game and ranked 27th in overall PFF. But now let's look at the next spot he could land, which is the Titans at 4, and this one is a little more likely. The team could save $7 million if they end up cutting Tony Pollard with this move, and this pick could boost Cam Ward to be a solid quarterback. When you look at that Titans offense, they don't have that many elite playmakers. Calvin Ridley was definitely not the guy that we all expected him to be with Cam Ward, so Love definitely could be that spark in the offense, or they could go wide receiver here for that reason. But if you're going to take a playmaker, you're going to take the best available one, so I'd assume they'd go Love, but most likely they're going to go Ruben Bain Jr. They definitely need to beef up that defensive line, and with Robert Saleh stepping in as head coach, I think this is just the most likely outcome. At 5 and 6, we have the Giants and the Browns, and I don't think these two teams are that likely, but I'll still go over them quick. First, starting with the Giants. The Giants have Tyron Tracy and Cam Scatabo at running back currently, and we saw how sad and horrific Scadabo's injury was, but he's been recovering pretty well and is trending in the right direction, so I don't think they're going to go him here. He really flashed a lot in his rookie year and was playing some amazing games before he got injured, and there's a lot of untapped potential. Of the trio of Dart, Neighbors, and Scatabo, he's already becoming a fan favorite, so I don't think he's going to be replaced yet, but I think the direction the Giants are going to take this is drafting Styles, who's another standout of the Combine. That just seems like a guy who's perfect for the system of John Harbaugh. They also are in some talks to land some free agents, possibly Kenneth Walker, but I think they're just going to most likely keep Scatabo. And now that takes us onto the Browns, and we all know how much of a dumpster fire the Browns are, and one of the only bright spots on the team is their running back in Quinshon Judkins. So much of the offense was just ran strictly through him, and yes, he's another player who suffered a season-ending injury, but there's already reports that he's progressing very well in his rehabilitation, so he should be able to start practicing by the summer, so I don't think they're going to replace him either. They need some O-line help badly, and some QB help, but it wouldn't surprise me if they just went in that direction. And now that moves us on to the big 3 of picks, which is 7 through 9, where I feel like he's most likely going to be drafted. First, looking at the Commanders, we were all shocked when Brian Robinson Jr. went to the 49ers, and Austin Eckler stepped in as the RB1, followed by guys like Chris Rodriguez and Bill Krosky-Merritt. So yes, the Commanders are in desperate need of a new running back, but this would be a really big gamble for them. As we know, the Commanders were only 1 game away from the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago, and there are equal priorities on this team, if not even greater. In positions like linebacker, edge rusher, and cornerback, we could see a guy like Caleb Downs get selected here too, but Love is open to the idea of being commander and being paired up with Jaden Daniels. You also kind of have to take what the Commanders RBs did last year with a grain of salt because of all the offensive injuries around them, liking guys like Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels, but I still think it is a possibility for him to be drafted here. But that moves us onto the Saints at number 9, which is my opinion the most likely spot for him. I know Alvin Kamara wants to retire a Saint, and he can take Jeremiyah Love under his wing and mentor him into being the best pass catching RB in the entire NFL. This offense has been totally revamped under Tyler Shough, and it really feels feels like a new era in New Orleans, and for this new era, if they really want to compete in the future, they're going to need a franchise running back. They were winning a lot of games at the end of the season, and if we could see Love get added into the mix, they could make the playoffs. They really have no reason to not draft him here if he's not drafted prior to this pick, and the Saints have the chance to block the Chiefs from getting him, which is what happened with Patrick Mahomes, as Mahomes was selected one pick before the Saints. But that moves us onto the last possible suitor, which is the Chiefs at 9, and if this happens, it will utterly break the NFL, and we could see another Chiefs dynasty. It's been a common occurrence to hate on Patrick. As I understand, no one likes to see the same person win, but he still is the QB with the most Super Bowl wins who's currently active, and one of the biggest weaknesses in that Chiefs team is their running backs, especially in Isaiah Pacheco. Ever since he suffered his injury in 2024, he's looked like a former shell of the player he once was. In 2025, he didn't even crack 500 yards and finished with 1 touchdown. The Chiefs running backs as a whole in 2025 finished 25th in rush yards per game, and with it being a split backfield with Kareem Hunt, things are just looking utterly down bad, as basically every rush stat is just below league average, and I don't think people realize how much this would break the NFL if the Chiefs got him. This would be a completely different Chiefs offense than the one we're used to, with Mahomes farming Kelsey down the middle. With this most likely being Kelsey's last season in the NFL, the Chiefs are going to need something new. They do have Rashee Rice at receiver, but I really do feel like if Mahomes gets an elite running back, this will be the scariest version that we've ever seen of him. Like I was comparing at the start of the video, imagine if Mahomes got a player like Gibbs, or even 75% of what Jahmyr Gibbs is. So many elite quarterbacks have elite running backs with them. Look at Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, Josh Allen and James Cook. You can even look at the Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker and see how much of an impact he made in that Super Bowl game. And the Chiefs are out here starting a guy like Isaiah Pacheco. If the Chiefs somehow land Love or trade up to get him, you can't say I didn't warn you. Whether you want to admit it or not, this is the perfect landing spot for him.